Okay, guys. This is going to be about contributing to Git and actually working with Gerrit to upload your patches. This is really just a relatively shallow intro to basic usage of Git and how you are going to set up your Qt account, how you're going to set up your Gerrit account, and how you are going to contribute patches back to the Qt systems. Yep. I'm trying to do this a little bit interactively. So what I'm actually trying to do is trying to fix a little bug in the Qt code base and trying to upload that to the Gerrit code tracker, to the Gerrit review system. And then you'll basically get a kind of idea how the whole workflow is using this infrastructure. Okay, so just a short intro to Git. First of all, who's been using Git? Who's using Git? Okay, using Git from the command line? Still a lot, okay. So yeah, there's basically, this is some excerpts from our Git training. So we usually do this kind of stuff a whole day where we teach people about Git. But this is just really the most basic stuff extracted from that training. We usually go about explaining what Git is, how it started, and so on and so on. I'll just skip this one because it's probably not that interesting. From Git itself, from the key features it has, basically the one standalone feature is that branching and merging is super fast in Git. Git itself is a small and fast and small project, so there's really little, I'd say, code involved, which Git actually uses to do its things. It's fully distributed. There's no single repository in the end at the remote we can contribute to. It has data assurance and integrity built in, so there's like any time you do commit, there is checksums being created, and Git is actually making sure that this kind of stuff you're putting into the metadata.git directory is actually being ensured that it is consistent. Yeah, and especially interesting is that it is really good at handling huge projects with ease. And the primary example for that is the Linux kernel repo, which I don't know, contains about 60 or 70 million lines of code nowadays, with tons and tons of commits going on each day, tons and tons of merges going on a weekly basis, and so on and so on. And Git is still relatively fast, showing you the history of certain files or showing you the history of the project. And this is really impressive, to be honest. Right. The other thing, staging error, I'm not going too much into that, but that's something we would actually do in the training. In general, if you've been working with Subversion before, that's one of the best images to explain what's the difference between those two. So we have Subversion on that side and Git on the other. And this image basically shows which kind of commands in Subversion requires you to have a connection to the remote server, that central repository. And in fact, for Subversion, it's really any basic command you actually need to have a connection to the remote. So if you want to branch off, if you want to revert patches, if you want to view log, if you want to merge, if you want to s4nplane a file, you always need to have a connection to the remote. And this is kind of the drawback of a centralized version control system. And on the other side, you have Git. And actually the commands which need access to the remote, or where you need internet access, that's only push, pull, and fetch. Any other command is really just local. So you're just working on your local checkout of the repository. That's the biggest difference. And if you look down here, those are the commands which you can run on your local working copy, which do not require you to have internet access. So you can revert commits, you can branch off, you can merge, you can check out the history of a file and of the repository just without having access to that repository. And obviously, with Git, it's easy to have multiple remotes as well. That's something we see when checking out the Qt code base and adding another remote which is pointing to the Gerrit code review system. Some GUI tools which are useful when dealing with Git, and if you don't have too much experience with Git, then from the standard install of Git, you actually get a Git-K executable, which is I think it's a TCL, TK-based GUI, which gives you the basic features of like viewing history and commit information inside the repository. It's mostly read-only, so you can't create commits using that, but it's already useful for getting a kind of overview over your project. If you've never actually seen that one, we can have a look here. So just a little toy project. That's how it looks, right? And it's basically a GUI for seeing the commit logs and the branches available, the texts which are available, and things like that. So if you don't feel too familiar with the command line, you can use that to at least do basic checking of what kind of stuff you have in the repository. Right, there are more sophisticated GUI tools like SourceTree, which is actually used by a couple of guys at our place at KDRB. This is actually really useful for also creating commits, for doing more sophisticated changes in the repository. So you can also stage individual lines you have changed and only commit those or only single files. That is very easy to do with this kind of tools. And mostly any modern IDE also has Git support these days. So Qt Creator has it, Eclipse has it, any modern, or even any modern text editor has Git integration these days. And they also allow to diff code, to review histories and create commits and so on and so on. Right, in this little guide, we are just focusing on command line usage. To get help, you can visit the gitscm.com doc page, get help with git --help, and also very useful is Stack Overflow for Git, because lots and lots of use cases are actually only covered in Stack Overflow, where you need to grab out some information how to, or which Git commands to run. So, okay, first things, to tell Git who you are, you have to run these two commands. But nowadays Git will also notify you if you didn't have this set before. So as soon as you do the first commit and you haven't set this, it will warn you that you need to run these commands. And yeah, this will denote the name and the email you're going to use. And Git, quite importantly, has a global settings file in the home directory or in the home directory on Windows and Linux. And it also has another config file in the individual project DS. So you can basically define separate email addresses for different projects. There's a use case for that. Sometimes you're going to need that. For cloning, Qt 5, you run these commands, git clone, and then the remote repository URL, and you can also pass which branch to check out right from the beginning. So if you want to have 5.12, you can do it like this. And actually, I forgot to add this. Qt 5 is actually referencing Git submodules. So Qt base, Qt declarative, like all the individual Git Qt modules, they are in different Git modules, Git repositories again. And in order to get these Git repositories as well, you would need to do git clone -- recursive and then this URL to get all the dependent Git repositories as well. If you look at my checkout here, then these are all the modules Qt is having, and these are again individual Git repositories. To do a basic commit, or that's the basic interaction with Git. Let's say so I just cloned Qt5 with the -- recursive flag, so I get the Qt5 folder, and in there I get all the different modules. And if I'm going to Qt base, I could run git status and see I have done nothing in here. I didn't do any changes yet. And if I want to work on something like onto stack, actually, oh, I already did ignore that for a second. So I actually did some changes here already. I'm actually trying to fix some kind of bug people were reporting in the bug tracker. So that's the usual approach, right? You see a bug in the bug tracker and you want to work on that, and so you start hacking on that issue. In that case, I'm really simply trying to make that work. What the bug report actually asks me to fix. Someone asks that queueUndo command should be a queue object. So I'm doing that now in order to fix that bug as a hypothetical patch you're doing. So I would create that fix. And now I could already commit this, put a commit message on that, and then push that. But actually, that's not how Qt rolls. You need to put your patches on Gerrit first, which is the Qt code review system. Okay? Who's heard from Gerrit so far? Yeah. Okay. 20% maybe. So we need to have another look at Gerrit now. Qt development itself, so the people who are working on Qt, they deal with Gerrit. So Gerrit is the code review system of Qt. If you look at that, it's basically the central base where any change to any Qt module goes into. And you have a list of current active changes. You can go into them. You see more meta information. You see the actual diff. And you see the list of reviewers over there. And you see a list of comments people have made on it. Like they complained that the diff is not fine yet. You have to reiterate and so on and so on. Okay, so that's how it looks basically. Now, in order to work with Gerrit, like the things you need to contribute to Qt itself, you first of all need to have a Qt account. That's what you need first. So you need to go to login.qt.io register, put up your name, fill in some details, and you'll get a Qt account. And that's actually the account which you can use to access the other systems of the Qt infrastructure as well. So this will automatically grant you access to Gerrit as well. So you can use the same credentials to log into Gerrit as well. And I'm not entirely sure if that's automatic anymore, but you should also get access to Jira, which is the bug tracker for Qt as well. So you can log into bug reports Qt.io as well. That's where you can check out all the, look at all the bugs which are reported for Qt. You can also do read-only, or you can visit that read-only as well, but as soon as you want to do comments or assign a ticket to you, you need to have an account at Jira. If you want to contribute changes to Qt, you also need to have a signed contributor agreement. So that's one of the prerequisites as well. And this is explained at this page over here. And signing the agreement, that can actually be done in Gerrit itself. So there's a subpage in Gerrit which allows you to sign the contributor agreement. That's, I don't know if you've heard of it, but obviously, if you want to contribute to Qt wants to have the right to be able to redistribute the changes you did to other customers. They want to sell it under the commercial license, if you say so. And so they need to have some certain rights to be able to use the changes you did to them. That's why I need that license after all, to have that agreement signed. So let's see what's next. Yeah, I'm just giving a short look at how it looks like. There's a settings screen over there in Gerrit. As soon as you logged in, you have that one. And there should be a subpage under this sidebar over here. That's where you can sign the contributor agreement. I think you need to download it and then upload it in a signed version again. I think that's the idea. Also, quite importantly, I'm not going to I'm not going to discuss this in detail, but you also need to set up SSH keys in order to let Git push to Gerrit. So Gerrit actually knows who that guy is who's sending patches to the system. This is very good explained in the Qt wiki pages. There's a wiki page called Setting Up Gerrit, and there's lots and lots of detail in there how to create SSH keys on Windows specifically and upload them to that system here. Windows is a little bit more involved. On Linux, it's relatively easy to do that. As I said, on Windows, you should probably have a look at that wiki site. I'm having a list of most interesting resources, how to set up all this stuff at the end of the slide deck. And as far as I'm aware, you also get a copy of that slide deck at the end of the conference. I'm not sure where it's going to be uploaded, but it will end up somewhere. Okay, so now we set up Gerrit. Now we would like to make our current Qt 5 checkout or clone aware of the Gerrit system. So as I said, by default, we're cloning from, there's a Git command for listing that. So by default, we're cloning from that URL, which is git@code.qt.io. This is the read-only mirror of the Qt sources. But if you want to push code to Gerrit, you need to add another remote repository. And that is under this URL here. And that's also what the slide here does. So we need to do git remote add and then the specific Gerrit URL. When you've done it, you basically have that other remote. So as I said, code Qt.io for read-only, Gerrit to actually put up patches for code review. So now we can check again what kind of commit we've done. We can commit this. Let's say let undo command inherit from key object. So that's my commit. I can check it again, like that's my latest commit. And this is also something you need to set up initially for using Gerrit. This change ID is something which is generated by a local Git hook. That means as soon as you commit something, there's a script running which generates this kind of unique ID for Gerrit. If you don't have that commit hook set up yet, Gerrit will tell you as soon as you try to push that you need to have a change ID in your commit, and it will give you commands how to install that Git hook. It's actually relatively easy. Even on Windows, you can just copy a file and put it in a certain place, and then you have to do git commit amend, so it will recreate the commit, and then it will have the change ID attached to the commit. That's actually relatively easy. I have that already set up, so the change ID was generated automatically. And now I need to push that to Gerrit. So I do git push Gerrit and use this nice syntax over here. So that means I push my current commit or the latest commit on that branch to refs for dev. That means refs for dev means I want to create a review for the dev branch. If I want to put that kind of thing to another branch, I would actually need to switch to that branch and in the end do it like this, if that patch is supposed to go to 5.12 instead. Now you're probably wondering what kind of branch I should target, right? And the common sense is that you should push a bug fix always to one of the stable branches, so 5.12, 5.11, 5.14. As soon as it's a new feature, like I'm probably doing here, I would push it to dev branch. Actually, I'm just now thinking this is a relatively stupid example because I'm also changing the ABI of the Qt interface, so actually that wouldn't go anywhere. So I can't really push that to dev anyway. Yeah, because it would break ABI compatibility in that case. Yeah. Anyway, it's an example. But that's the common understanding. So if you have a bug fix to the stable branches, to the lowest supported stable branch ideally, the question is which one this is. You can usually only find out by following the Qt mailing list. And if in doubt, you can always just push it to dev and people will tell you this should go to another branch. This works as well. Obviously, you're going to add some reviewers and they will know which branch you should target. Anyway, let's put this on dev. And I hope this works. Yep. Oh, that's slow. Not my fault. So what Git is giving me after that is a URL. I can just open the web browser. I can click that one. And magically, I got an entry on the code review system. And it looks a little bit alien at first. If you've never seen that interface, it's not the nicest from a UI, UX point of view. But it is, in fact, a quite cool system to work with code changes, I think. But you definitely need to get used to the web page layout. So this is the subject of your change, like the top of the commit message. There you can basically tell whether you want to accept that change, +2 it or +1 it. +1 means, okay, this is okay. +2 means, okay, this can actually go in. You may be able to abandon the patch, so remove it completely from the system if you think that wasn't needed. You can defer, like pause the review, and you can also edit the change. You can even edit the diff inside Gerrit. That's a relatively new feature. But most interesting is usually what you actually did change. And that's again my commit I just did. And I can go to up again to go back. So this will list all the files I changed. And also interesting is the list of reviewers over there. So in order to really get this reviewed by someone, I need to put in some reviewers here. Now the question is, who's going to be the reviewer for this? Well, there's a couple of approaches how to do this. That's what I explained. You want to have someone review this who worked on the source code. So you should be trying to figure out who did it the last couple of years, or who did changes to that file in the last couple of years or weeks or whatever, how well maintained that file is. So you would run git log on that file. In my case, I'm changing queundo stack. So I would run git log on that one and see, well, Christian Ehrlicher did some changes, but this looks like only cosmetic changes. Someone's adding missing documentation, so not the right person probably as well. Doc warnings, doc warnings. So that's the first guy here who did some changes which are changing functionality. So that probably would be good candidate. Then there's also this guy here, Jarek, which did changes to the code, and it's actually from the Qt company, so this might be a good candidate. So you start adding these people who are doing significant changes to that file, so the relevant people are being added to the review. That's one thing to go through. So in this case, I would add Jarek to this one, and I could just press enter, and he would be automatically notified that there's a new patch around he should be reviewing. That's how it works. If in doubt, if you don't want to use git log or git blame for whatever reason, you can also go to the maintainers wiki page and then see we did some changes in the widgets module. And I would go to the widgets wiki page and see, oh well, widgets and dialogues. Oh, bad example. Currently no maintainer attached to it. But that's usually how you would do it. You would go to that wiki page, see what kind of maintainers there are, and at least add one of the guys which are relevant here. And if in doubt, the people responsible here, they would also ping the right people to add themselves to the review system. That's how it works. And now you would get reviews. You would actually get comments on the ticket. Let's say there will be another iteration because you did something wrong. You had a typo. Then you would upload another version of that patch again. Then we would push it again, and afterwards, you could possibly get a +2 from one of the reviewers, and that kind of means the patch is ready, and you can submit it to the system. As soon as you have a +2 from someone else here, actually a submit button is showing up, and you are supposed to press the submit button that the change is actually landed in Gerrit, and it will go through the Qt system. That's kind of the basic overview of a contributing Qt. And that's the life cycle of changes. That's all something which is on the Qt wiki, and if you're curious, check it out. Okay.
So, any questions? So, Kevin?
Crystal clear.
Well, thank you very much, Kevin.